Hey everybody, it's Eddie from Tokyo. This is your cryptocurrency update from Japan. I'm going to see if I can whip through these tabs, but do it in a way that is succinct and really tells you what is happening with MoneyGram, with Ripple, with XRP, and with Asia. So first, there was a tweet that Chris Larsen sent out on December 17th. He said he's proud to be working with Kitao-san of SBI because he's a true innovator and leader driving the future of finance. Now, the reason why he tweeted this is because the Wall Street Journal wrote a very good article about what he is doing quietly. Yeah, this is Japan's fifth year under the central bank's negative interest rates. And couple that with the pretty severe population decrease Japan is having in the countryside, because young people are flocking to big cities for jobs mainly, and the small regional banks are trying to find ways to modernize and to digitize. And this is just as the Ripple partner MoneyGram is trying to do. They recently said that they are focused on that. Just 20% of MoneyGram's global transactions are now digital. So you can see they have a ways to go. In the early summer, Mr. Kitao outlined his plan that he was going to invest in regional banks and create a fourth mega bank. This is a graphic that I put together just a couple of hours ago and tweeted out. And you can see that when you take the regional banks in Japan, they do create collectively a bigger entity than the three mega banks, Mitsubishi, Sumitomo, and Mizuho. So he is doing deals. He is actually executing his plan. He did a 17.9% stake in the bank in Fukushima. Here is a regional bank map throughout Japan, and the Fukushima bank is right here. And he also then, just about a week and a half ago, put an investment of 23 million into the bank of Shimane. Shimane is interesting. It is where a lot of Japan's big ship building is done. So there's a lot of economic activity. So while his plan is to spend a total of around 1 billion US dollars, and he believes this is a very low risk investment because the banks trade well below their book value, 0.32 times book value on average. So he loves the return on this. Now, what can SBI do for these regional banks? Well, they can do a lot. They can bring them blockchain. They can bring them XRP. They can bring the mobile payment app MoneyTap. That's just for starters. And if you can just take a look at this Fintech Journal article that came out on December 16th. This is the second part of a two-part series interview where he discussed his digital strategy and specifically cites XRP as a digital currency that is most friendly to the financial institutions. He's been building a financial ecosystem around blockchain and XRP since 2016. And today's news was big in China banking, and we actually heard about this from SBI yesterday, but it's really breaking today all around the world. The announcement is that SBI is launching a joint venture with Ping An Team OneConnect. OneConnect is a subsidiary. OneConnect is a fintech platform that is used by 99% of Chinese banks. And the joint venture creates a new company called SBI OneConnect. And SBI is going to take a 60% stake, and it has the goal to help banks raise their operational efficiencies. So when we take a quick look at Ping An, it's quite impressive. They have 500 plus scientists from all the top universities, of course. They have 6,000 patents. They're number one among China's financial institutions, and so far they have made 50 billion in investments for their innovative technology. So Bloomberg did an article about them because they are really on an accelerated path throughout Asia, and they are going to launch a digital bank by the end of this year. And it is also rumored, and that's in Hong Kong, and it's also rumored that they applied for a banking license in Singapore. So this accelerated expansion is really interesting, especially when you see who's behind it. It happens to be this gal here. Her name is Tan Ben Rue. She is the CEO of One Connect Financial Technology. She worked 5 years with Microsoft and also 9 years with HP. Her degree is in mathematics, and she's got a black belt in Six Sigma. No, that is not karate. I will talk about that in today's fluff. But I think she's just wasting no time at all. And should you have noticed in the up-and-coming IPOs in the US, One Connect announced in November that it filed for an IPO with the SEC. They have not yet decided on the price range, but this is an IPO I want to follow. So I had this quick chat with the CEO of FlashFX. They are a on-demand liquidity user, so they're using XRP. And I asked if he knew of any other on-demand liquidity corridor that was open, because I'm really focused on how quick these corridors are lighting up, because that's going to have a direct relationship with price, because it has a direct relationship on demand. And I think I have covered that in many videos, but I still get the question about people saying that, oh, we see all this XRP being used in the 5 corridors that everybody talks about, but the price hasn't gone up. Well, this is just the beginning. So those corridors are, yes, getting live, and the one that the CEO Nicholas talked about is Japan. Should go live in Q1. At least he seemed to be quite sure that it's coming, according to what he understands, in Q1. So 2 months ago, we saw this big red attention calling to SBI. Ripple Asia is going to cover nearly 50% of the overall Ripple network once it is connected and activated. And that is in this southeast region of Asia. And SBI Group is planning on using, as he names it here, XRapid. And I'm sure this was actually a slide done by someone who doesn't know that it's been now renamed as ODL, but this is in collaboration with SBI Remit, which is also the partner to MoneyGram. So I'm really paying attention to what's happening here. We know that there is a connection and a relationship with the Siam Commercial Bank and SBI. And we also learned on the 4th of November that TP Bank became the first Vietnamese bank to join RippleNet technology via the SBI Ripple Asia joint venture. So I'm just going to tell you that there is a lot happening in this part of the world. And also, I don't have the article opened, but TP Bank has also announced that they are going to connect to South Korea with this technology. So Julia Chatterley, who's doing a fantastic job, not only in the questions that she's asking, but she's got great open flow of communication with the XRP community. She has on her Twitter feed a 2-part interview with the CEO of MoneyGram, Alex Holmes. And here he says that there are 5 live corridors. I've only heard him mentioned so far by name, Mexico, Philippines, and Australia. But I think what caught everybody by surprise was that MoneyGram doesn't keep any of the XRP on the books. Well, I don't think we should be that surprised, because David, this about a year ago, talked about how they had come up with a workaround that financial institutions can avoid these regulatory hurdles. And he talked about the day that banks and others will set up entities, as he envisioned it, to store the XRP, giving a means to be legally compliant to use the digital assets. So exchanges, for one, he said, can be that entity, and that the these financial institutions can employ non-banks to do it for them. I think that is exactly what we're seeing done with MoneyGram. And on Quora, as all of you know, I am on this reading what David answers to a lot of random questions almost daily, on a daily basis. I just love the questions he gets. He is so generous too with his time. Here we see an older posting that once Ripple gets these corridors opened, they're going to hang other countries off the end of the corridors, so expanding the reach of XRP. And if Japan truly does go live in Q1, well, then I think we're seeing that bank in Vietnam and probably the bank in Thailand and also the bank in South Korea, they're going to get hung off that corridor. I think that if Ripple is successful, as David says, getting XRP used by these international payments, users are going to want to hold XRP to access because these piles of XRP do the transfer quickly and at less cost. And he also, I just want to read you this portion here. They can, people who are holding can make payments funded from XRP at roughly half cost. Say they want to pay into a corridor that's bridged by XRP. Since they already have XRP, they can save the cost of the 2 XRP half of the payment. And this means they will save money by holding piles of XRP sufficient to adapt the timing of the 2 operations, and they'll be adding to XRP demand. These forces could be expected to increase the price of XRP. This same logic can apply to all kinds of companies that make payments around the world. At least that's what Ripple is betting on. After all, the reason we're doing this is to increase demand for XRP, to increase the value so we can extract from our stash of XRP. All right, so I think that will give you a good insight as to the master plan. And yes, I know we're not seeing a price increase yet, but I'm telling you that we are so early for these corridors going live. Okay, there is something that just came out on December 19th, and that is the 2020, the year of the digital asset. And you can see that, gosh, what is it? There's so many predictions, I guess is what I would say. The digital asset and blockchain will continue to emerge as the core pinnings of the world's financial future, but even more are going to join in the adoption of XRP. And also it talks about, there's some talk of the mobile wallets will come into this space in a very big way, and also some predictions that new credit and loan products are going to expand, payments will expand. Brad Garlinghouse says that half of the top 20 biggest banks in the world will hold and trade digital assets in 2020. That's a big prediction. And at least one central bank will launch a tokenized version of their fiat. Yeah, I don't think that one is too far-fetched. I think we're going to see that for sure. Okay, I am now jumping to the fluff. Remember, I talked about the CEO of OneConnect, where she's a black belt master of Six Sigma. Well, it's a team-focused managerial performance measure that eliminates waste and defect. And the principles actually originate from Japan. They are originally something that the U.S. adopted back in the 1980s to compete with Japan's manufacturing. And you can take a look at the original structure of that. You have seri at the top, which means to sort things out, remove things that you don't use. And then you have seiten, which means to put things in their place, seiso, to shine, keeping things clean and keeping your space clean, and seikatsu, which is, or seiketsu, sorry, to maintain high standards, and then shitsuke, which is to eliminate waste. And these are the core principles of that Six Sigma now that has just evolved. And why I want to focus on this is because this is the time of year where everybody is focusing on cleaning. Yeah, it is the year end called Osoji, and it's in full swing. It started on officially on December 13th, and it is a big cleaning time until the very end of the year for not only homes, but for the workplace too. And everybody pitches in, everybody. And what it does is it symbolizes a fresh spirit or a new beginning. And I learn something new every day here in this country. It was on Wednesday, I was talking to somebody, and she said that her husband had to go to his mother's house to clean the Kamidana. And I said, really? I mean, why? And she said, oh, because they're a real traditional family and they don't, they still follow the traditional belief that women shouldn't clean the Kamidana. That's a man's job. So I thought that was really funny, and very, very often for traditional businesses and some homes, you'll find they have a Kamidana, and it's just a place to reflect and pray to God. And you can see these vessels here are for sake. This one is for a special water. There's rice, there's salt. It's very interesting. They're just super, super traditional. And I'm going to put a link, so if you're more curious about this, you can do your own study. But the leaves that are replaced officially twice a month are called sakaki. And in doing a little bit of research on sakaki, I found that, oh my gosh, it is so popular. Not because it smells great, it has a really great smell, but it is popular among people all over the world who want to enjoy the fragrance and the really delicate, beautiful flowers that it has. I didn't realize it was such a popular ornamental plant for people outside of Asia. So that, if you're into exotic planting in your yard or garden, take a look at this one. It's really, it smells great. Okay, everybody, yeah, do take care. Sayonara for now. Bye-bye.